Let's dive into one of history's greatest and honestly most terrifying mysteries. It's a story of how an entire advanced world just vanished. Poof, gone right off the face of the earth. To really get what was lost, you've got to picture two totally different scenes. First, imagine the Eastern Mediterranean around 1200 BC. It was a golden age. We're talking international trade, complicated diplomacy, incredible art, a thriving cosmopolitan hub where everything was humming along. And then, almost overnight, apocalypse. Cities are torched, entire empires just disappear, and humanity plunges into a dark age that would last for centuries.
You know, the crazy thing about this period is just how familiar it all feels. This wasn't some backwater time with isolated tribes. No, this was a deeply connected, you could even say globalized world. You had all the great empires, the Egyptians, the powerful Hittites, the Mycenaeans over in Greece, the Babylonians, and they were all linked up in these complex webs of trade and diplomacy. They really depended on each other.
But here's the part that just blows my mind. The speed of it all. This was not some slow, gentle decline. This entire world order, this whole network of civilizations that took centuries to build, was completely wiped out in just 40 to 50 years. That's a single lifetime. Imagine watching all of that just crumble. In the scale of the destruction, it's hard to even wrap your head around. The Hittite Empire, a genuine superpower of its day, vanished so completely that we basically forgot they even existed until modern archaeologists found them. The Mycenaean civilization in Greece totally collapsed, and with it the actual knowledge of writing was lost, gone, for hundreds of years. All across the region, huge, famous cities were just burned to the ground and left as ruins. So, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? What happened? What kind of force, human or natural, could possibly cause a catastrophe on this scale? Let's treat this like what it is, a 3,000-year-old cold case. It's time to look at the evidence.
Okay, so if this is a crime scene, the ancient sources all point their finger at one particular group. In the few texts that survived, one name keeps coming up, and it's always spoken with absolute fear, a mysterious group known only as the Sea Peoples.
Just listen to this. These are the chilling words that Pharaoh Ramses III had carved into his temple walls. He said, "No land could stand before their arms. They desolated its people, and its land was like that which has never come into being." I mean, that's not just a historical record. That is pure terror, etched in stone for all time.
So who were these terrifying raiders? Were they like ancient Vikings just sweeping in from the sea to burn and pillage? Or were they a massive wave of refugees, maybe pushed out of their own homes by some other disaster? Or maybe a highly trained, specialized group of warriors? The honest truth is, we still don't know for sure. The Sea Peoples are the prime suspect in this whole mystery, but their true identity is still a ghost.
But here's where the story takes a turn, thanks to modern science. The latest archaeological evidence suggests that just blaming the Sea Peoples, well, it's a little too simple. The new leading theory points not to a single killer, but to a perfect storm of disasters all hitting at once. It's this idea called a systems collapse, and it shows you just how fragile a complex society can really be. See, it's not about one big problem. It's when you get several big crises, any one of which you might be able to handle on its own, but they all strike at the exact same time. The whole system just gets overloaded, and the dominoes start to fall, fast.
So let's walk through those dominoes. First, we have strong evidence of a massive, centuries-long megadrought. No rain means no food, which means mass famine. At the same time, the region was rocked by what seismologists call earthquake storms, a whole series of huge quakes that shattered city walls, destroyed roads, and ruined infrastructure. So now you've got starving people and wrecked cities, and that leads to the next domino. The trade routes that supplied copper and tin, the things you absolutely need to make bronze for weapons and tools, they just broke down. The economies crashed, and there you have it. Weakened, starving, broke, and unable to defend themselves, the great civilizations just fell apart.
So, after our little investigation, we reach a pretty chilling verdict. The Sea Peoples, they weren't the cause of the collapse. They were a symptom of it. They were like the predators that move in on an ecosystem that's already dying. And the story of why that world was dying, well, that's where the real warning for us comes in.
Just think about their world for a second. A complex, globalized society, totally dependent on international trade and reliant on a stable climate. Does that sound at all familiar?
The parallels between their world and ours are, frankly, a little scary. They also thought their world was permanent. They thought their way of life was too big to fail. They were wrong.
And if you want to know what collapse really means in human terms, just think about this one fact. It's not just about buildings falling down. It's about knowledge disappearing. Over in Greece, they literally forgot how to write. A skill that fundamental, just erased from memory for hundreds of years. The slate was completely wiped clean. Today, the ruins of those great Bronze Age cities are still there, and they stand as a silent warning. They prove that civilization isn't a guarantee. It's a fragile thing we build, and all of it leaves us with one provocative question that echoes across 3,000 years. Is our own interconnected, complex, and brilliant world really too big to fail?